so we're here checking out your assignment 7 turn-in. What I've got going on here right now is the submission that you sent in, and then I also have kind of a sample model over here, just kind of to show you what we're shooting for and what it should look like when you're all finished with it. Okay, something like this. So there are at the moment a lot of edge flow problems on the model. So the flow is not really following and going the way we want it to go. So things are kind of going off in different directions than they should. Okay, so we're gonna start dealing with that kind of thing and get this all fixed up today. So the first thing we'll focus on is getting all of our edge flow correct, alright, and then it's just going to be a matter of shaping and placing things in places that make sense. So if you are having trouble with the interactive split tool, okay, this guy right here, interactive split tool, that's causing crashes or strange problems in Maya, I suggest that you go down to the campus and use one of our laptops there. They're just behind the desk. You can just walk up to the desk in the library at the Computer Commons, okay, and just ask for one of our special VGD laptops, and we'll go get one for you. And it's got a running copy of Maya, so hopefully you won't run into any problems on the laptops there, but again, you will need to be able to use the interactive split tool in order to complete this, okay? So, try it at home. If it's not working, just put your project on a thumb drive and head down to the college. Let me know if that's not an option for you, and we'll see if we can work another way or work around it, okay? So, now that we've kind of established what we're going to start with, which is edge flow, let's really get our model set up and ready for this work that we're going to do. Because the face is symmetrical, okay, on either side in the X direction here, any problem that we have on this side of the face is going to be repeated on the other side of the face, okay? So rather than redoing everything twice or fixing solutions twice, once on each side, let's just get rid of this other half of the face, okay? That way we can only focus on one side, alright? And then we can just mirror that side over when we're done, alright? First thing I'm going to do is grab the faces here on one side of the model, so I'm going to go to face mode, okay? And I'm going to take a look at this from one of my orthographic views, okay? I don't want to try and grab them from my perspective view because I'll likely be a little bit off kilter and be grabbing things I didn't mean to grab. So make sure you're in your orthographic view here. And I'm going to grab everything pretty close to the center line. Make sure you haven't accidentally grabbed anything that's on the other side of the center line, and also make sure that you haven't missed anything, like some of these little tiny faces in here I've missed in my selection. So once you're confident that you have everything on one side, you can go ahead and delete it. And I'm just going to use the delete key, Command X, or if you're on a PC, Control X. And now we've got only one half of the face left. So the next thing I'm going to do is move this eyeball out of the way, because it's just spooky, just sitting there. And it does get in the way of us being able to see what's going on the inside here as well, so we'll just move this. Before I move it, I want to go ahead and set all of these values to a 0 value for this position, okay? That doesn't mean I want to go ahead and put zeros in here. If I do that right now, it's going to wind up in a really weird place, okay? It's going to wind up right in our origin. And the reason for that is that, you know, this is kind of where we created the sphere. It popped into being when we created it right here in this space, okay, this origin space. And when we moved it and rotated it around, you know, we never actually told Maya that we want this to be kind of its new home base, alright? So, you know, it's a good thing to do once you get something positioned and, you know, you're pretty sure you want it to stay there, to go ahead and do what's called freeze transformations, alright? So I'm going to grab this in object mode, make sure I've got it selected. And when I freeze transformations, basically it's going to turn all of these translate and rotate values to 0, and it's going to change these scale values to 1, okay? But it's not actually going to move, rotate, or scale the eyeball at all. Basically, it's just kind of resetting these default positions, okay, so that our new 0 space will be right here, okay? Our new rotation orientation will be the way it is now, and this will be our default scale as well, okay? So just come up to Modify, Freeze Transformations. You can see my eyeball has not changed at all, but all of these values have changed to 0s and 1s. And so basically what that does is that allows me to move this wherever I want it to go. You know, I can put it anywhere in the universe. I could rotate it accidentally, scale it around, you know, I could do anything with that. And if I'm ever thinking, oh man, I just want this to go back where it was before, and you know, it's all crazy now, I can just come in here and set these to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and scale 1, 1, 1, and you can see it's returned to this exact position and rotation and shape that I have set for it, okay? So, with that out of the way, I'm going to move the eyeball out of the way. So I'm just going to, I'll just move it over and forward, alright? This way it's kind of, no matter which view we're looking at our face from here, the eyeball's not going to be in the way of us seeing these vertices, alright? So we can see them without those eyes being in the way, alright? So, okay, let's go ahead and get started on actually working on our edge flow now that we've kind of set ourselves up here, alright? I'm also going to grab, actually I don't have to grab the eyeball itself. We have our eyeballs on a layer here, okay, this layer right here, eyeball. Right now, the eyeball layer is able to be manipulated. We can change that just by clicking on this. Click on it twice for reference mode. The R stands for reference. It means that no matter what I do, I'm never going to be able to select this eyeball, so I cannot accidentally select any vertices or anything with this eyeball. Okay, it's just sitting there and looking pretty. So so we just kind of, you know, have stopped ourselves from the possibility of accidentally manipulating our eyeball geometry when we don't want to. So let's deal with the face now and start getting things in order. We'll start with kind of the mouth area here, and then we'll also work with, you know, the eyes and this edge just above the eyes, okay? So, let's take a look at our sample mouth, okay, and see what's happening here. So basically, you know, when you start a mouth like this, you want to have this kind of nice round shape that goes around the mouth, okay? So you can see it here. You know, we've got the mouth opening, and then the next edge loop out from there is going to mimic that shape of the mouth, and it's also going to form the bottom of the nose here, okay? So let's first check that. You know, we'll do this really step by step. Okay, so here's our mouth opening. Our next edge loop out is going nicely around the mouth, and it's forming the bottom of the nose. So that looks totally fine. So, you know, that's all good. All right, so let's look at the next edge loop out. So the next edge loop further up that we can see is forming kind of this top of the end of the nose here. All right, it's coming down, and it's also doing this round shape, okay? So it's coming around, all the way around the mouth, okay, and just forming part of the nose. So I'm just gonna go ahead and warn you right now, there's actually gonna be quite a bit of reshaping that's gonna happen with our nose over here. All right, so key points to be aware of to make sure that you get this shape and edge flow correct. You can kind of think of these as like these three little bumps, okay? So you've got the nostril here, this bump at the edge, or the end of the nose, and the other nostril, okay? And each one of those is kind of basically comprised of two main faces, alright? So we've got this face and this face forming the bump at the end of the nose, alright? And then there's this kind of loop going around them, okay? So you've just got kind of an inner square and an outer square, alright? Same thing is happening here. We've got two faces, okay? And we have a loop that goes around them. Now it's a little difficult to see, but if we zoom in, this is actually a complete loop, okay? It comes right around here. It's just tucked in behind the nostril, so, you know, if we look at it from this angle, it might not seem like the loop continues all the way around, but it does. It's just back behind here, okay? So again, two faces and a loop around them, okay? Same thing over here, two faces, a loop around them. And each one of these loops shares an edge here. So the furthest forward edge of this loop, okay, is the same as the furthest the furthest in the positive x direction, excuse me, having trouble with directions here, on this end of the nose bump, okay? So these two loops are kind of touching one another, alright? And, you know, another thing to note is that the top of these loops, okay, is going to be connected in one solid line, and it is also connected in one solid line to this mouth loop shape, okay? And the bottom of these loops are also connected as one solid line. Okay, there they go. Here's the bottom of loops, and they wind up leading right into this inner mouth loop, okay? So the top of the nose, top of those loops is going to be this outer mouth loop, and the bottom line here is going to meet up with this inner mouth loop, alright? So after having taken note of those things, now we can actually start to try to reshape the geometry that we're looking at right now. Okay, so this is not looking like how we want it. If we grab these two verts here and just pull them over, we can see a little bit where this is one side of that nose bump, okay? this face right here is this face right here. Alright, now we need a loop around it. Okay, this nice little loop that goes around it. Which is not what we have at the moment. So, we do have this right here. Okay. So this is kind of, if we look at the next, this kind of in-between line, alright, where those two loops meet up. That's represented by this, okay? So I'm just going to move it over a little bit, so it's kind of next to our bump, alright? I'm also going to just shape this just a little bit. I'm going to bring this down a little, a lot, bring it up, and I'll bring this up as well. And it's going to look pretty crazy at first, alright, because our geometry is kind of going in the wrong direction at the moment, but we're going to fix it, so it'll be alright. Just follow along and do as I do, and we'll get there. So rather than cutting across this way, our next step is going to be, here's the formation of our loop here, starting, and then we know we want it to come across this way, we want it to come underneath this way, okay? So let's start with the top, because that's going to probably be a little easier to deal with. We'll go up to our edit mesh, and we'll go to our interactive split tool. We'll grab this corner and we'll cut across right here, okay? Hit enter. It's gonna look a little funny at first because we've got this edge kind of splitting right through the center of it. Let's get rid of that. Go to edge, and I'm gonna get rid of both sides of this edge, okay? Again, make sure you don't just hit the delete key. If you do that, you're gonna leave the vertex that was associated with those edges behind, and that causes all kinds of problems. So whenever you grab edges like this and you want to delete them, come up to Edit Mesh, Delete Edge Vertex to get rid of that vertex that was hanging on there, okay? So, okay, now we're getting closer to our loop shape. We've got the top and this side. Now we just need the bottom to be a loop shape, alright? So let's do kind of the same thing here. We'll come up to Edit Mesh, use our interactive split tool, grab that corner, or not. We'll grab something entirely different. Sometimes you do have to zoom in and change your view to be able to grab things correctly. Okay, so interactive split tool I'm using. I want to make sure I snap to this right here, okay? And I'm just going to bring it right across, okay, to right here. It's going to look funny at first, but that's what we're doing, and it'll work out in the end. So it's not going to let me do that right now, and that's probably because these polygons are at a really sharp angle to one another, okay? They're kind of shaped really poorly at this point, and they're all over the place. So I may have to click individually on these edges to really get it to work for me. Okay, just hit enter. Now I have a whole bunch of stuff going on, but I have the basic idea of what I want my loop looking like going on here. Alright. I'm gonna move these vertices, excuse me, so that they look like they're the correct shape that I want my loop to be. Okay, even though I have extra edges here, I at least want this to look like that nice loop that I'm seeing over on the other side here, okay? Polygon and loop around. So, okay, this looks about right, except for these fun edges hanging out here. So we can grab those too, We know we don't want those. We can delete them. You'll still see the vertices there, and that's because there are edges leading into those over here, okay, on the bottom. But we'll deal with those in just a moment and then get that fixed up as well. Alright, so we got our loop. around the bump on the end of the nostril. The end of the nose, excuse me. Let's deal with this nostril space now, okay? So we want these 2 polygons and a loop around them. So, let's make it happen. Let's grab these verts right here. I'm going to pull them over and closer to my end of my nose here, okay? So this face right here is the same as this one over here, okay? This face is this one, alright? So we can kind of go on that and just kind of roughly place things where we think we want them to wind up, okay? These will probably wind up right about there. You can look at it from different angles too and just kind of see how you like it. I'll pull this one out a little bit even, maybe. Pull this up a bit. And you don't have to get this shaping perfect right now, okay? Because, first we deal with the edge flow and then we really come back and deal with shaping later on, okay? So we just want to get our edges at least in the right place. I'm seeing some see-through stuff here where I'm actually folding this too far. It's going inside of the nose, so I'll pull this out a little bit more just to avoid that, okay? Alright, so let's make a loop around these, okay? We've got the starts of a loop here. You can see it coming around, and then this is where it goes wrong. So, let's work on our loop. We'll go to Edit Mesh, and we'll go to our Interactive Split tool. This is that outer mouth edge, okay, that we were talking about before. So this outer mouth edge, ideally, as we said, needs to join up with this kind of top of our loops type of edge here, alright? So we want this to join up with this at some point, okay? So we're coming around, and I'm actually not going to set it right there yet, okay? I'm not going to join those up yet, because that's going to stop our loop, alright? We want to loop all the way around this geometry here, so I'm going to put it right there in the center, okay? I'm going to come around this way. It's going to look pretty crazy at first, but it'll work out, I promise. Alright, I'm going to go right there, and I'm going to stop there because we have more of this kind of overlap going on. So we need to address that. That happened when I moved some of this stuff forward, okay, and I didn't move this stuff down here forward. So I'm going to grab some of these verts around here and just pull them out, okay, so that they're not going inside of the face. We don't want them inside the face. We want to be able to see all our verts. So we pull those out so we can see them at least a little bit. I'm going to even pull them out a little more just so that we can see what we're doing a little better, okay? So, again, we want to continue this loop around. We've got the starts of continuation of this loop right here, alright? So, that's okay. We can pull that over there, and that's fine. Obviously it looks a little crazy on the bottom, but, again, we'll get there. We're working on it. Let's pull that out a little bit as well. Okay. And I'm going to pull these guys. Let's pull those in. Alright. Now one thing that's probably going to be a good idea to do at this point, actually before we keep building all this loop stuff, is to go ahead and establish these corners here, okay? So basically what we want is a corner like this, alright? And at the moment what we have is this going off in two different directions, rather than just having one corner, okay? So we can use our Edit Mesh Merge Vertex tool to join these two together. Alright, now we just have this one corner, okay? We don't have this splitting off here, it's instead splitting off over here, alright? So we'll just move that as well, and remember this part is actually going to be tucked back a little bit, okay? Here as well is, another place where we've got this kind of branching off in two directions, and it shouldn't be. So we've got this line coming down and feeding in right here, and we've got this edge coming down and feeding in right there as well. What we actually want happening here is this line coming down and feeding into this corner area right here, okay? So it's just kind of going off in the wrong direction. So let's fix that. We'll go with our interactive split tool right there, and we'll take it down to this corner instead, okay? Once we've done that, we can grab these other edges that are going off in the other direction and get rid of those with our Delete Edge Vertex tool. Okay, so now this is going down this way, this is going down this way, this is coming over here and meeting up this corner, okay? Let's deal with this corner, because this is going off in two different directions as well. We don't like that. So we'll go to Edit Mesh. We'll use our Merge Vertex tool again. We're going to be using the interactive split tool and the Merge Vertex tool a lot. So you'll definitely get a lot of practice with those, okay? So I'm just going to move this up now that I have my nice corner and move it inwards. Alright, so it's kind of making sense with the shape of the nostril. Alright. And now let's deal with getting the rest of this all set up, okay? Obviously we want to bring this across to meet right there, okay? Let's use our interactive split tool some more. I'm going to grab that corner right there that we've got, and I'm going to bring it across, and I'm doing a lot of splits here, but it's okay because we can always fix everything up later, which we will. And I'm just going to bring it right across. Alright, let me use my move tool just to kind of move this stuff into place roughly, to sort of visualize what I want this to look like, okay? I'm also going to go ahead and delete the edges that aren't really making sense anymore, okay? So these aren't really a part of this corner thing that I've got going on here, okay? So I'm going to get rid of those. Delete those guys. Okay. Now again, we still have these vertices here, and that's because there's still edges continuing along, alright? But at least this face, we've got the general idea of what needs to happen with this face here, okay? And I'll move this up as well to be in line with that face, kind of where it needs to be, alright? So we've got that all blocked out. We've got this with a loop around it. We've got this with a loop around it. It's continuing along to the bottom, this inner mouth loop here, and the top is continuing along to the outer mouth loop there. Okay, so let's deal with all this chaos that we've unleashed on the bottom here. Okay, so because this is still looking a little crazy. So let's look at our reference. Alright. So we can see, we got this happening. What's the next step? What happens next? And that is that from this corner comes a line that goes up into the nostril, okay? From this corner here as well, okay, which is that pinching area, there comes a line into the nostril. From this center line, there comes a line into the nostril, alright, and it continues all the way around to over here, okay? Also, from this line that's coming down here, okay, so the outer edge here, alright, you can see that there, that little sliver face that we've got, also comes a line that meets here with this inner mouth loop and comes up into the nostril, and then there's also another line here that just comes right down to the center, okay, as well as this one. I think we talked about this middle line, okay, that comes all the way across, alright? So that's what we're going for, so, you know, let's go make it happen. Let's take what we got here and make it look like that. Alright, so first things first, we established that from this corner, there should come a line that leads up into the nostril, alright? We have something that looks pretty much like that already set up for us, okay? It's this right here, but instead of coming and meeting at this corner here, it's going off out into outer space. So we can fix that really easily with our Merge Vertex tool. Just grab that, pull it over here, voila, now we have this line that's coming from the corner and going up into the nostril there. So we established that the next nostril line, which you can see happening right here, okay, so we already set it up, there it is. That should be coming from this pinching area here, alright, right here. So this needs to lead to this, okay? And obviously right now it's not even close to there. So we'll go to, actually, you know what I'll do first is I'll go to vertex mode, and I'll grab those verts there, a couple of those. I'm gonna try and select them without accidentally selecting a bunch of other stuff. There we go. I'm going to move these a little closer to this kind of pinch area, because I know that's where I want those to be connected, okay? So here we go, kind of preparing ourselves for that. We'll go to Edit Mesh, our interactive split tool, start right here, and end right there, okay? So now that's connected the way we want it to be. Okay, it's coming right through there. Let's go ahead and go to our next one, alright? We determined that the next one should be coming down this center line. I'm going to move this a little bit, because the shape is bothering me. Again, you know, shaping is more of something that we'll come back later and do. But this middle line, okay, cutting through the middle of the nostril here, should connect with this middle line right here, alright? Again, I'm going to grab this stuff and just move it over a little bit so that it's at least closer to where my middle line is now, because otherwise we're going to have some weird stretchy polygons. So I'm going to move this over a bit. Kind of prepare myself for that. Now I already have this vertex, you know, kind of there and in place and ready to be joined up, so I can just, instead of using my interactive split tool and deleting that edge, I can just use my merge vertex tool right here and set it right there. Okay, so now we have that attached, okay, and it goes all the way across and ends right there in the middle. That's fine. That's perfect. Next one, we determined this corner should meet up with this kind of inner mouth loop, alright? So it should meet up right here, okay? So let's make that happen. we'll pull it over to there. Okay. I'm gonna go with Edit Mesh. I'll do the interactive split tool this time. You know, these are sometimes kind of interchangeable almost, really. The interactive split and the merge vertex, you know, you can try different things to get pretty much the same results. Okay, so I'm joining that up with that corner right there. Okay? And this should be joined up right here. Okay? Which is where it is, so that's good. I'm going to grab these verts and just move them away a little bit because they're kind of squishing this polygon right here. It's difficult to see what's going on with that, so I'm going to move it out. I'm going to move this a little bit too because there's some other weird stuff going on there. You know, and again, the shaping's going to get a little crazy right now and a little out of hand and all wacky, but you know, we'll get there with the shaping. Let's Edgeflow first, shaping later. So at the moment, we've got this line coming out, and it's just it's coming out over this direction and winding up, going nowhere. What we actually want it to do is to come over here and meet right here. Okay, so let's do that too. We'll do our interactive split tool, and maybe it will work and maybe it won't. There we go. Okay, right there in that corner. And let's get rid of the things we don't want. So, you know, right now, as of right now, everything that we need in place is in place and built. Now it's just a matter of getting rid of the extra stuff that does not belong here. Okay, this is the edge that was kind of leading off into nowhere. That does not belong. So Edit Mesh, delete Edge Vertex. Alright, this also is leading off into nowhere. Okay, so Edit Mesh, delete Edge / Vertex. Alright. We know that this is correct. This that's going here that we built. This is correct. Alright. So we can get rid of things that don't directly involve that. Okay. Meaning this, okay? This right here is not part of our grand scheme of things, okay? So we'll get rid of that. Edit Mesh, delete Edge Vertex. This is looking a little cleaner now. There's still some weird stuff going on here. You know, we've got something coming out from the corner here. We don't want that. So that we can also get rid of. Ooh. Okay, so vertex mode, I'll move this out a little. We'll see what we've got here. Okay, we now have a loop going around all four-sided polygons. No problem there. If we go in a little further, we have another loop of all four-sided polygons. On the inside of the nose here, we have a loop of all four-sided polygons. And right here we've got two four-sided polygons. Okay, so everything is quadded, just meaning it's all four-sided geometry, which is good. And we love four-sided geometry because it makes our lives easier. So that's awesome. And it's all flowing nicely, you know, everything just kind of leads into the next thing. We don't have any weird, awkward shape changes, okay? So the next thing to do once we get all of our geometry, you know, correct, the flow is correct, and all of our geometry is quadded, then we can start coming in here and dealing with shape issues. Like, okay, now I have the basic setup of a nose, but I also have to come in here and you know, start pushing and pulling these vertices around to really help shape that nose the way I want it to look, okay? So you'll have to come in here and really deal with this kind of stuff, like, you know, rounding out the bottom of the nostril, for example, and giving that a nice round shape, working on your spacing, making sure things are spaced oddly, okay? So you want things to, basically you want to make sure that most polygons are roughly the same size of the polygons next to them, okay? So you don't want to see any super stretchy polygons if you can avoid it, or any instances of little teeny tiny polygons next to really, really big ones. It's okay on the inside of the nose a little bit to have those big ones in there, because, you know, really we don't, hopefully we don't look in those areas too much. Okay. Depends on the game you're making, I guess. But, yeah, this center line here should be kind of the furthest down, alright, of anything else. Alright. And everything else should just kind of curve gently, okay? So you can just sort of watch what I've done here with the shaping to get an idea of what it probably should look like, alright? Okay. I'm gonna move that down a bit. And so I'm also gonna move this. And, you know, I could sit here shaping the nose for a really long time, but we're not going to do that because we've got a lot of other fish to fry. So let's keep working on our edge flow, alright? And shaping will come some other time, okay? So originally, before we started talking about the nose, we were talking about going around the mouth, okay? And creating these mouth loops, okay? So, you know, just to recap, we have that inner mouth loop, okay, that comes around the bottom of the nose there. And then we have an outer mouth loop that comes around the top of the nose, all the way around the chin. And then where the corner of the mouth comes out and meets with that outer mouth edge loop, you can see it also continues back all the way around the head, okay? All the way back to the other side to this kind of junction, alright? This is called a star junction, just so you know. So you can kind of recognize these things when you see them. Basically, what a star junction is any joining of different edge loops that involves, you know, one vertex going off in more than 4 directions. So in this case, it's going to be 5 directions, alright? So, you know, you take your typical vertex, and it goes off this way, it goes up that way, it goes up that way, it goes off that way. It's really conventional, nice, pretty smooth edge flow. But sometimes, you know, we can't do everything with perfect grids like that, so we need things to be a little more dynamic, so we get these star junctions where, you know, it's going off this way, it's going 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 in 5 different directions in this case, alright? So, you know, just be aware of those star junctions. They're a useful tool. We're gonna deal with our star junction right now. Okay, so as we kind of established before, we have this inner mouth loop. It's happening, it's fine, you know, there's a whole lot of crazy stuff going on over here, but we have that inner mouth loop, okay? It's there, everything is there, and there's no funny stuff inside of that loop. So the funny stuff starts happening out over here, okay? So let's bring this outer mouth loop together. Okay, we know this top of the nose part, this right here, this is the top of that outer mouth loop, right? And this, just underneath the inner loop, this right here on the chin, this is the bottom half of that outer mouth loop. All this stuff that happens in between is a bunch of other stuff. But we know essentially that we need this and this to come together, okay? So we can start based on that kind of a principle. We also know that we need this corner of the mouth at the point where it meets with this and this to go ahead and continue back around the head. Alright? Okay. So let's make it happen. Now, just so you know, this star junction here comes from kind of the corner of the eye. Alright? Comes down right here. So we can kind of use that as a point of reference for where all this meeting of lines should be happening. Alright? So we know that where this comes down and meets with this, alright, should meet with this, it's also going to be meeting with the corner of the mouth, and it's also going to be meeting with that chin area, okay? So all of those things are going to happen with this vertex right here. Alright, so I'm going to start moving it kind of into position. We know that it's coming down from this kind of corner of the eye area. It's coming down from here. This should be coming up to meet it right there, and the corner of the mouth should be meeting it right there. So all these other things are already attached. This eye thing, the mouth thing, the corner of the mouth thing, those are all attached to this vertex already. The only thing that's kind of missing here in this equation is this bottom chin loop. Okay, so let's bring it up there. Edit mesh, interactive split tool. Gonna just, wherever you need to go to get this chin loop to come meet these other guys right here, just do it, okay? There we go. We got a whole lot of stuff going on in here, but our chin loop is meeting up with our star joint now, okay? So, what I'm going to do to kind of simplify what's going on here is to start deleting some of this excess stuff to try and make it a little less confusing to look at, because at the moment there's a lot going on here. So we'll go to edge mode, and, if it's not continuing from the mouth, okay, if there's not a line coming from the mouth, and if it's not part directly of this inner loop or outer loop, then it's gonna go, okay? So this right here, this is part of the something that's coming out from the mouth, so we can leave that. This is not part of the outer or inner loop or part of something that's coming from the mouth, so we can get rid of that. Same story with this one, we can get rid of that. This is part of the inner mouth loop, so that gets to stay. All this good stuff here is part of the outer mouth loop at the moment, so that gets to stay. We have this corner of the mouth area going out in two different directions and kind of meeting up in the same place. So, it's kind of up to you at that point which one you want to get rid of. Since I've kind of just determined already that this is going to be my star joint right up here, I'm going to get rid of the one that's going this way, okay? It's going kind of the wrong direction for my star joint. I'm going to get rid of this, and this, and this. And that's it for now. We'll go to Edit Mesh, delete Edge Vertex. I have a vertex in there still, so I guess my vertex tool failed me, but I can just grab it and delete it, just like that. Okay. So, alright, some stuff happened, we got somewhere, but it's not quite right, as you can see, okay, because we've got this 5-sided polygon here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and that is not the case over here, okay? So, what happened here, and how do we fix it? Well, we just kind of can follow the template here to see, what's gone wrong. And basically, we've got this edge loop that's going all the way around the head. Alright? And we know that we actually want that, okay? We can see it right here. It's happening. It's going all the way around it. We have a loop here, coming in, going all the way around the head, right? Got that going all the way around. That's great. What you don't see is another one in between those two, okay? So this guy right here, this is extra. Or at least for the moment, it's extra. We might add it in again later to add some detail, and if we did add it in again, we would just finish it off by bringing it through all the way around and inside the mouth here, okay, and just ending it off there. But for now, it's kind of in the way, so, let's just simplify. We're going to get rid of it. So delete edge vertex, goodbye. Alright, so that's one less thing to look at and clutter our view right now, okay? So now, we've got this outer mouth loop going around. We've got our star joint leading to the corner of the mouth, the back of the head, the corner of the eye up here, and the mouth loop, top and bottom, okay? So that's looking a little better. We can shape this a little bit if we want, but again, not really gonna mess with it too much right now. I'd also like to straighten this out a bit, so I'm gonna come into my side view here. I'll grab this, grab lots of that stuff. And I'm going to straighten it out using the scale tool. I'm just scaling in the Y direction right now. I'm not grabbing the scale tool and scaling in every direction at once because that would be bad. But just scaling in the Y direction, I can get a much straighter line happening. And we can get curves happening in there a little later, okay? So I'm just going to straighten that out just to make it easy to look at. I'm going to pull it down a bit too, okay? Because you can kind of see where, here's our star joint, okay? Here's that star joint, it's coming down right here, okay? Just above where the neck kind of is, alright? And the next edge loop right here is coming down and forming kind of the bottom of that head base, alright? So this should be kind of down here forming like the bottom of the neck, alright? Which means also we can probably, to make up for some of that spacing, grab this. Oops. Grab all of that, move that down, and maybe use a scale tool on that too to straighten it out. And again, we can reshape this good stuff all day a little later, but let's keep working on our edge flow and fixing our edge flow. Okay, so we got that mouth stuff going on. The next kind of really interesting thing to note about the way the face is built here is that we've got the mouth, alright, going all the way around. We've also got these eye loops here going around the eyes, okay, and the nose there, okay. Once you have these loops for the eyes and the mouth, you may notice that they actually connect up to make one large loop around the entire face. So if I come to the outside of this eye loop, alright, and I continue down, it joins to the outside of my mouth loop, alright, and comes right back up around the other eye and just makes one big circle around the face, alright, which is awesome because that means when I go to my next edge loop further up, alright, it's also just one really big circle around, okay, not super complex, not a lot of crazy geometry going on there, and the next one back, just another circle around that, okay, And it continues back that way for quite a while until we get here where we get some more fun star joint stuff. Alright, but that's pretty straightforward. Basically, we're making one big circle around our face that's comprised of this mouth area and the eyes with the nose in between, okay? So let's let's take a look at what we've got going on with our eyes and mouth right now and see if we can't replicate that, alright? So the first thing that you might notice is that we've got this super low brow happening right here. All right, you really want to bring those brows up a lot. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this stuff up. Start grabbing these and pulling them upwards. Okay. I'm going to pull this out a bit too, since it's gotten away from us here. This also has kind of gotten away from us right here at the top of the nose. Okay, it's making a triangle. What it should be doing is coming across right here, so we'll fix that while we're here, so we don't forget about it. Interactive split tool. Grab that, bring it across. Alright, right there. Enter. Vertex. Pull down. And get rid of this old edge that we don't like. Okay, there. So now that's continuing in a nice non-triangle way. Alright, so we've got this brow up, we've got this loop that's coming around the eye. Okay, going all the way around the eye. While we're here dealing with the eye, let's fix the eye before we actually start dealing with the rest of the face, because we have some problems here. We have got some problems here with this eyeball, alright? First thing you might notice is that corner of the eyelid here is tucking inside of the face a little bit. So that's not good. We want to pull that out. And I just grabbed all of those, so it didn't really do anything. Just make sure that you grab just a couple of these. And pull them over so that you don't have those kind of things happening. Okay, you want this away from this, ideally. And this is tucked in pretty far, so you might want to bring this up a bit. Maybe not that much, but something like that, okay? And you'll also want to bring these back, probably, okay, to kind of help counter that. So yeah, you've got a diamond-shaped opening for the eye right now, which is not what we want. We also don't want these guys right here to stop in these corners, okay? We want these to continue all the way down through the eyelid, okay? So let's bring those down. We'll use the interactive split tool. Now, well, technically, this is all quadded geometry, and these are all squares, which is good. We still, we want to take advantage of the shaping opportunities here that we have, and bring these down through the eyelid, okay? So I'm going to bring that right there to the end of my eyelid. And I can grab those vertices, and I can use them to help improve my eyeball shape. Right? My eyelid shape, actually, I should say. And you can really start shaping this stuff based on the shape of your eyeball. Maybe I got a little dramatic with that, but you get the idea. Just want to use that to help you shape, okay? And actually, we're going to be putting some more edge loops in here later, so you can keep this fairly close to this corner over here, okay? Just letting you know, so we can kind of plan ahead for that. Just make some space in here, because we'll be adding more edge loops. Same thing here, we'll have some edge loops in here, so leave some space. Move that up a little. And you know, really just take the time and come in here and deal with each of these little edges, okay? Just kind of tuck them in towards the eyeball there, okay? Just kind of wrap them around that shape. And there'll be some areas where it's kind of like cutting into the eyeball, but that is okay, because again, we'll be adding more geometry later to alleviate that problem. But for now, let's just keep working with this. We've got this other corner that's coming in here. It should continue all the way through. All right. So we'll go to interactive split tool, bring it down, right there, enter. Okay. And now we can use this for shaping, just like we did with the other one. And you know, this is going to be pretty close to the corner too, actually, because again, we're going to be adding some more geometry in here. I'm going to move this over, move it down, move this up, around. It's cutting into my eyeball right now, but again, you know, that's alright. We're going to fix that later on. This is too far, okay, too far over here. So, because we can see right inside his skull, which can be pretty unnerving. Don't want to see inside of people's skulls, so bring that in a bunch till it's just touching the eyeball. And once you have that corner set as well, you know, you can better gauge where to put other things based on the corner, okay? And you may have noticed a geometry problem here, or an edge flow problem, I should say, once you've done that. And that is that this is coming around, and then it dips in and comes into the corner of the eye. So rather than following this loop that we've established with the eye, it's coming around and then just going, woo, just dipping right into that corner. So we want it to continue around instead. So we'll come to Edit Mesh, Interactive Split Tool, bring it around to meet up with the other side of the loop there. Okay, the loop's coming around, now it's making a full circle. And we can get rid of these edges that don't belong, okay? Edit Mesh, and we'll delete Edge Vertex. Yay! Okay. Same thing on the bottom here. We still have these corners going on that don't continue all the way to the eyelid. So let's do the exact same thing we've been doing. There's a lot of lather, rinse, and repeat that goes on with modeling. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put the other one in right now before I start shaping. Here they are. Okay, I'll grab these vertices. I have to be in vertex mode to do that. And start using them to help me shape my eyelid. You know, and this right here too is way too far out right now. So you definitely want to bring that in a lot, okay? And again, you know, leave some space in here, because we're going to be adding some more some more edge loops later on to those areas, okay? Move this over here a little more. And just, you know, try to adjust things based on the shape of your eyeball, alright? Try to adjust your spacing as well, okay? As much as you can. Alright, so we have the same problem happening over here, where this edge loop is coming into the corner of the eye rather than continuing around as a loop. Let's make it happen. Interactive split tool. We're going to make this a loop. Bring it right around here. Enter. Grab these two edges that were leading into the corner of the eye and get rid of those. Okay, so now it's a loop around the eye. There we go. Much better. It's going to give us a lot more control over our modeling. And it's also going to keep us from having triangles, which we don't like. So, you know, try to keep these shapes rounded. You know, for this, it's going to be kind of an oval shape that you want to mimic, because that's kind of the shape of the eyelid at the moment. So you want to, with your outer edge loops, sort of mimic that oval shape that you've established with the opening of the eye here, okay? So your outer edge loops here should also be pretty much oval shaped. Right? Make sure you're looking at things in multiple directions as well, so that you can make sure that things look correct from no matter what angle you're looking at it from, okay? So round that out maybe a little bit. Okay, so your eye, when you're done, should kind of look like this nice oval, with another oval, with another oval around that, and then we get this kind of squarish shape for the outside of the eye, okay? Now, before we get too far here, I want you to kind of take note of something that's going on here, a difference that we can see, and that is that, you know, on this kind of reference that we've got going on here, we've got these edge loops continuing upwards and back around the head, okay? They're all just, each and every one of them leads to the back of the head, okay? Here, we do have a line that's part of something that's coming from the back of the head that does not come down to the eyeball, okay? So in this sample, each and every one of these edge loops does come down into the eyeball and ends there on the eyelid, alright? So we're going to bring this down, all the way down, into the eyelid area in anticipation of kind of fixing the rest of the face shape, okay? And if we take a close look here, this is that middle eye edge loop that we have right now, okay, this middle one, alright? Here's the corner, okay, there's the corner. This one is the next one over that we have right here, okay? And in between those, alright, are two more edge loops, okay? Two. And here we have just one that's kind of stopping and going into nowhere, okay? And we also have this that's continuing around this direction. So here's kind of another one, all right? So what I'm gonna do to kind of alter the edge flow that we have right now and prepare us for all kinds of crazy stuff that's gonna be happening is to reroute these guys, and instead of having them come over here and then go around the top like they are right now, we're gonna have them come and go downwards into the island, okay? So we use our interactive split tool again, surprise, surprise. And I'm just gonna start bringing this down into the eyelid. Amazing. Okay, there we go. Same thing here. We can do that with this as well. Just bring it down. It's gonna make some triangles. That's alright. You know, we'll deal with it. We'll get over it. And we'll fix it at some point. Okay, so I brought that down as well. I think I might have missed this last little bit. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to grab these verts now that I've placed them there and use them for shaping. Alright, I don't want to just leave them right where they're at because that's just going to create a flat surface here. Anytime that we add verts, we want to use them to help improve our shape. So use these to round out the shape of the eye. Don't just leave them sitting there. Keep that shape nice and round. Bring these up. So you should go all the way through here on each of these edge loops and just kind of help use that to enhance the shape, making everything nice and curvy and smooth. Okay, so now we've got kind of two edge loops leading into here. If we look at the other side, we've got the corner of the eye. Alright, here it is. And then we've got this other edge loop that leads into the corner where it meets with the nose. That's right here, okay? In between those two is just one edge loop, alright? And in between this corner and the middle guy right here, okay, is one other edge loop, alright? So there's going to be one right here and one right across here, okay? We'll go ahead and put those in right now. For this one, I'm going to do edit mesh, and I'm going to do insert edge loop. And I'll just click right here, places an edge loop all the way around, comes and ends off in the mouth here, okay? That's fine. Totally cool with that. I'll also put one right here. Once you do that, again, of course, you don't just leave stuff there. You want to shape it. As soon as you make it, shape it. Start rounding out these shapes. It'll be a lot easier if you deal with these kind of things as soon as you create them, so that you don't forget to come back and deal with them. Okay? And I'm not going to put a great deal of time and effort into those right now, since, you know, we've got other things that we need to move on to get this looking ship shape, but you know, take the time and really go in here and start shaping these things and, you know, give it some careful attention, alright? You really want to round things out as much as you possibly can, okay? Alright, that's enough of that. So we've got that kind of all set up, alright, where we've got these lines going back. Okay, that's where we want them to go, so that's all good there, except for this little triangle, but we'll deal with that later. Let's also look at the mouth here and see what kind of lines we want coming out from the mouth. Okay, here's the center line, right? And here's the corner of the mouth. We'll kind of use those as a reference, alright? We'll also use this next one as a reference since this is kind of the base of the skull, okay? Now, in between this base of the skull line and the center line of the mouth here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 edge loops, okay? Let's see what we got going on here. 1, 2, 3, here's the base of the skull. So, you know, one is missing here. So, you know, just be aware of that something is missing. And, you know, we can use that to help us kind of reassess our edge flow. And so, I'm actually going to take this, okay? Because you can see, again, we have another star joint here. Alright, here's the star joint. There it is. And if we look on our sample here, no star joints happening. Alright? So what we can do with that is actually bring this star joint all the way to the corner of the mouth. Alright? We're going to have to move stuff over to do that, because at the moment it's kind of crowded right there in that spot. Alright? So I'm going to grab some of these verts. Make sure I don't grab any extras by mistake. I'm going to move those over. I'm also going to use my scale tool and bring those back into line with one another, okay? Because they're kind of getting away from me there. Same thing here. Just going to grab those. Move them over. Make a little more room. I use my scale tool. Bring those into line with one another just a little better. And this one. Move it over. You know, make sure you're looking at this stuff from multiple angles too, and pay attention to your shaping. For now, I'm just kind of getting the basic idea, just by moving stuff over and making room. Okay, so now we've kind of cleared a space for this to go. Alright, it can go right in here, in between. Let's put it there. Interactive split tool again. Start right here at the corner of this star joint. And just bring it around through the mouth and out to the end of the mouth here. Remember that the mouth goes all the way back here, inside the head a little bit. Okay, so bring it all the way back there. Okay, there we go. Now we still have, you know, a triangle here and some weird stuff going on, but that's okay. We're gonna deal with it. The next thing that we're gonna look at to get this back on track is, you know, back on this idea of the edge loop going all the way around the face. Okay, we've got that going on already. Got this edge loop goes all the way around the face. Alright. Starts up here, comes all the way around, ends right there. So the next edge loop outwards from this face edge loop is right here. It comes all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, and just goes in a loop right around that face loop. Okay, no star joints, no nothing crazy, just a bunch of squares going directly around this loop that we've already established. All right, so let's make it happen. So if we come over here, here's our kind of face loop, and we come to the next edge loop out from that, starting kind of on this side of the face. We get this right here, okay? This is it. We're going around, we get to here, and we start going to the back of the head. So that's not what we want to do. We want this to come down and around, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and start dealing with that. We're going to use our interactive split tool, and we're just going to draw where we actually want it to go, okay? We're saying, you know, we don't want it to go back here, we want it to come down instead, and just follow along with our face loop here, alright? Drawing, and you know, it's going to come around, and it's going to meet at the bottom here, right here, okay? So now we have kind of everything in place that we need for this loop to come up, come all the way around, and meet right there. You know, obviously there's gonna be a problem here, and that's this triangle for one, okay, and this triangle for another. This triangle is much easier to deal with because we can just grab that edge, in fact, and just delete it. No more triangles. Okay, so that's fine. That part was easy. The part at the top is going to be less easy to deal with. So, we have this corner going off this direction. It's going off that direction. Where should it be going? You know, what's happening here? Oh my goodness. And, you know, if we look at our reference, we can see the corner of the eye kind of swoops straight back, you know, just maybe slightly up, alright? So we've got that going on, we've got this straight back thing happening, and, you know, actually it could probably be just a little higher up, just like that, maybe. Smooth out that curve there. So let's look at our next line. So what's happened here is that we actually have an extra edge loop, okay, going around the head right here. Okay, so we've got this one going back this way, and if we follow it up and follow this, we've got this one going back right here. Okay, one of these is extra, and we don't want it. So I'm going to go ahead and say, you know, I'm going to keep this bottom one. I'm going to get rid of the top one up here. Okay, so I'm going to grab that. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to grab this edge loop. Make sure you don't delete this. Okay, I'm going to keep this right here, right, this part, because this particular section is part of that loop that goes around my face, okay? I just want this part of the loop that goes back around the back of the head, okay? I'm going to delete that as well. There we go. That's gone. Now I still have a 5-sided polygon here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I can fix that now by using my merge vertex tool, just dragging that right over there, okay? So now it's got 4 sides, okay? I'm going to take that edge loop and just move it up a little bit to make up for the spacing issue. Since I got rid of one, I'll just move this up to help the spacing a little bit. You know, I'll probably eventually move this one above it down as well to help the spacing, but for now I'm just going to leave it like that and we'll focus more on the edge flow again. So alright, so if we look at this now, we've got these nice squares that are just continuing around, just like the face, okay? This loop here is mimicking what's happening with this loop here, alright? The next one back is going to do the same thing, okay? Now I have some more extra stuff going on here, and we'll get rid of that. I'm just going to grab these edge loops right here, and I am going to delete them, okay? Deleted. Leaves me with just this, alright? And here's this big old 5-sided polygon again. More 5-sided polygons. I can grab this from the side here, vertex mode, and you know, move it a little bit. Maybe even rotate it. Rotate it. I'm not gonna deal with the scale because that's gonna get crazy. So there we go. We've got something like that. And what I'm gonna do with this actually is I'm gonna bring it right back here. Okay? So following along with this other edge loop that I've made, okay, just following that path, I just continue along there. And the next natural step is going to be right here, okay? I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, Interactive Split Tool, grab this, bring it right back here. Boop. And now once I've done that, you can see this is following the loop that we worked on before that. Nice squares. It's getting a little squished in here, but you know, it's still all 4-sided polygons. It's still following along, so that's fine. Now I'm going to move the next one back as well. Interactive Split Tool, so you can see here's all these lovely polygons coming along, and then they kind of form into this triangle. I'm going to lead them back this way instead. Alright? I'm going to get rid of that old edge. Alright, so this is now a loop 2. Okay? Whew. It's a little bit misshapen at the moment, but you know, it's a loop. It makes sense. Everything's nice and square, it's flowing nicely, it's following the loop in front of it. Now, you know, I could keep moving these things back forever, but eventually I'm going to get to the back and I'm going to run out of places to put these, so I'm actually going to need some more geometry here to connect all these loops to, okay? I'm going to get rid of this right here. And now I have this polygon that has 5 sides, alright? This edge loop back here is already complete, okay? It's already doing its own thing here. It looks fine. This edge loop in front of it is also complete. It's all fine, alright? And I've got this line coming down here, and it's got nowhere to go. It just stops right there, but, you know, it could just continue down, right down here, and end off right there. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Edit Mesh, insert Edge Loop tool this time, and we'll just insert an edge loop right there. It's going to stop when it hits the 5-sided polygon, okay, because it no longer knows which direction it should be going. Okay, I'm going to hit the Q button on my keyboard, Q for quit, to exit my insert edge loop tool. And I'll go to my interactive split tool now to finish off this line. I'll start right here and grab this of the new line that I created, hit enter, and now it's complete. Okay, so again, you know, we can see this loop coming around. Next one back just kind of mirrors it. Next one back after that, it's about the same. Next one back, same thing going on, you know, all the way to the back, till we get to, you know, right here. This is where we get these these star joints starting to appear. Okay? So, let's start dealing with some of the shaping that we have going on here, because we've been doing a lot with Edgeflow and we haven't really been paying much attention to our shaping. You know, bring some of this stuff down right here. Okay, this should be coming down quite a bit. And it's not going to look pretty at first. It's going to take some doing to make this happen. This I'm going to bring up a little. This, I'm going to bring this line, okay, outwards a little. So, you know, kind of what I'm going for here is this nice curve here, alright? This line, alright, leading into the star joint here, should be the line that's kind of, you know, if we drew a line directly outwards from this surface, you know, it'd be about a 45-degree angle there, okay, from the horizon. You know, this line that leads into the star joint should be kind of that soft turning point, that perfect 45-degree angle point on the head, okay? That's where everything gets nice and round. It changes from top of the head to side of the head, right? That's where that happens. Bring that in. So basically, anything beyond this line is going to be either more oriented towards the top of the head or more oriented towards the side of the head, alright? So, you know, it turns out that I jumped the gun a little bit on this star point right here. So this is coming back this way, and rather than having this be the kind of pivotal point of the star joint, I actually want to bring this line all the way down, okay, to meet up with one of the edge loops for the mouth, okay, that's coming down out of the mouth there, alright. So we're going to actually move the star joint over by one vertex here, okay, so this is going to become kind of the new center of the star joint, this guy right here. This we're going to bring down, okay, so I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, Interactive Split Tool, start bringing this down, all the way down here. It's going to meet up right here at this little corner, okay? And this is going to continue all the way around, and eventually it's going to go into the mouth here, alright? Just a couple more steps here. You know, we've got a triangle going on, and this isn't really working for our star joint. What we're going to do here is just go to our Merge Vertex tool, and we're going to merge those together. Alright, so we're getting rid of some extra geometry there. It doesn't look pretty at the moment, but that's okay, we'll fix it. Here as well, we're going to be getting rid of some extra geometry. I'm going to hit my Q tool to get rid of my Merge Vertex tool. I'm going to grab edges this time, just grab all of these edges right here. I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, Delete Edge Vertex. Alright, so I've got a star joint right here, and star joint right here. Alright, and at this point, all of the geometry is sound. All of it is quadded. All of it is the exact flow that we need it to be. Alright, so at this point, it's just a matter of shaping, okay? And there's quite a bit of shaping to do here. You can see, you know, the spacing here is way far off from what we need it to be. We've got these giant polygons next to these little teeny tiny ones, and, you know, there's all kinds of jagged edges, and it's just not smooth. So the next step would then be to shape things. But since we've got all the geometry that we need in place and correct, I'm going to go ahead and cut off this video here, okay? And just make sure you focus on getting this edge flow right, and then we can focus on shaping. Alright, so thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions about any of this. I know that it's a whole bunch of stuff that we covered today, so, you know, if there's anything that doesn't seem clear, let me know. And happy modeling.